Hello, and welcome back to the Taylor Seminars, where we talk about how Taylor Swift turns life into poetry. My name is Hannah, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Exquisite. How are
Hi,
you?
Hannah. I'm good. How are you?
I am. I'm so excited. We were like giggling before we hit record because we're so excited for what's going to happen next.
We're so excited.
So as you know, we've finished up our TTPD um, episodes. We had our little recap, and now we're just going to jump in the previous album, Midnights. And how did you
Yeah.
describe Midnights, Exquisite?
I said Midnights is the mother of the tortured poets department because there would be no TTPD without the labor pains of Midnights. And TTPD is a colicky baby.
Oh my
It
gosh.
needed attention first. So now we can go to the mom.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you texted me something about how one of them was like self-loathing or something, and the other one,
Yeah.
yeah. Can you go into that a little bit?
So Midnights is a lot of self-loathing, while TTPD, there's so much respect on TTPD, self-respect that is, because with Midnights, she's doing a lot of this is my fault. Where in my past have I done this before? How can I fix it? Because I know I'm prone to doing this. Um, and she does not like the person that she is on Midnights, and you can kind of tell. Um, but then with TTPD, we see her progress to liking herself, or at least knowing where her own worth is. Like she knows she's the prize. She even says it on the alchemy, She's like, "Where's the trophy? It's me. I'm him. He comes to me." Um, so it's interesting for that reason.
Yeah. So we were like, and it's reverse chronological order. It makes sense. But you might think we would jump straight into Lavender Haze, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to go to where we think may the first seeds of Midnights actually may have been planted, and that is
Hmm.
the song Renegade, which which is released. I'm reading the article. It's released July 2nd, 2021, and it came out on this album by Big Red Machine, which
Hmm.
is a band that is consists of Aaron Dessner and Bon Iver slash Justin Vernon, and they kind of do they just do their own thing. Like they're just musicians. They want to just do things. And so it was hinted. I think Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, he played a bit of this song on Instagram. Everyone's like, "It's Taylor!" Like, oh my gosh. And the story goes that Taylor and Aaron they couldn't stop writing after Folklore Evermore, and Aaron sent Taylor a bunch of tracks for his project with Justin Vernon, and Taylor immediately, as she does, gravitated towards a track and just bam, put out a song. And it was, and she didn't, she, I think she actually wrote something like Dorothea also maybe for Big Red Machine,
Yeah, I think, yeah.
but then
And then they
this,
decided that
that,
one was
yeah,
Evermore.
that was
But
actually
they
that
realized it was
project.
going to be a project. They were like,
And that was
this
like,
one fits on Evermore, but this one feels like a Big Red Machine song.
exactly. And so I think that was and you can hear a lot of very similar things like that driving drum beat that you hear in songs like The Last American Dynasty and things like that. So yeah, we are sorry, one more thing before I go. So yeah, so Dorothy and Closure ended up on Evermore, and
Yep.
Renegade and Birch, which Taylor only does backing vocals on, were recorded during the folklore week when she was like recording a bunch of songs. So this, when we also know that that was the time where she was recording songs like Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. So again, that's kind of why we think it makes sense to kind of be like this is kind of Midnight's adjacent.
Yep.
And then we also want to, in this episode, talk about You're Losing Me, which was the last song released in the Midnight's era, even though it was written again in that same year, 2021, but in December. But because Taylor chose
Hmm.
to not publish it till later, we're going to kind of see these as the two bookends. We'll see if we get to You're Losing Me, but this is what we're
We
going to
may
try to
not.
do.
If we don't, You're Losing Me is the next episode. That's your hit.
Yeah. But we just think, and we just wanted to do these songs because they're not on, well, Renegade's not on a Taylor album. You're Losing Me is just a vault track that's kind of floating around and you can add it to your own playlist. But we think they're so crucial for this era and will help us to kind of do an overview before we dive into the
Yeah.
album of the year, Midnights.
Exactly. Exactly. It's still currently, as we speak, and when we post this, it's the reigning album of the year. Um, who deserves so much more respect. And also, yeah, if you look at like the composition and lyrics, this was a Taylor production.
Oh yeah, you mean
With
Renegade, right?
yeah, Renegade with like Aaron throwing in. Like Aaron did the songwriting, but he's the songwriter in that he wrote the music to it.
Yep,
And Taylor wrote all the lyrics. But yeah, based on sound, they're absolutely right that this feels like a big red machine work and maybe not Evermore because it didn't fit on Evermore. And Midnight's as a project wasn't fully formed yet.
correct. And I think she wanted to contribute to her friend's album. Like that's so
Exactly.
fun. Like so yeah, so Renegade is not a super popular song. It's just not known because it's not on an album. She did not play it on the Eras tour. So definitely
Ugh,
gonna
which she should have played it.
well, both of us would have been so mad that we weren't there.
Well, absolutely. But she should have played it when I was there.
It's true. It's true. Let's dive in. Let me read the lyrics. Verse 1. I tapped on your window on your darkest night. The shape of you was jagged and weak. There was nowhere for me to stay, but I stayed anyway. And if I would have known how many pieces you had crumbled into, I might have let them lay. I'm just going to keep going. Are you really going to talk about timing in times like these and let all your damage me and carry your baggage up my street and make me your future history? It's time. You've come a long way. Open the blinds. Let me see your face. You wouldn't be the first renegade to need somebody. Is it insensitive? Oh, let's just keep
So
going. Is
good.
it insensitive for me to say, get your shit together so I can love you? Is it really your anxiety that stops you from giving me everything, or do you just not want to?
She's so good at what she does. I think first we should probably define the word renegade for the masses.
Yes.
Um, so a renegade is a person who deserts or betrays an organization, country, or a set of principles. So like a traitor, a turncoat, someone who's gonna leave you behind,
Yeah.
leave something behind.
It also gives me like the like kind of vigilante vibes. Like
Yep.
they do what they want to survive because again nobody trusts them. They're in it for themselves, right? They're a rebel, so yeah, not a great description to be a renegade.
Nope. Nope. Not at all. And then, well, we'll get into how she uses the title in the songs. But I just think it's very interesting here for the song to literally open up with I tapped on your window in your darkest night. So when you were at your lowest point, I said, let me in. And even though you were sharp at the edges and all of this, and you probably had a lot of jabs or whatever, and there was nowhere for me to stay, I stayed anyway. So it's like I wanted to be with you despite how low you were. These were the trenches, and I just jumped down in them with you.
Yeah, and tapped on your window is a fascinating line to me because it's not like I tapped on your door or knocked on your door. It to me it's more like she climbed up a tree and like and
Yep.
like tapped on a window, or she like snuck in or had to jump over a hedge to tap on because he wasn't answering the door, right?
Exactly. I was gonna say he wasn't answering. He
Yeah.
wasn't opening the door.
Yeah, so she had to
He's like,
and
let me in.
yeah, which it shows effort, like extra effort.
More effort.
Uh And it's so funny at the end of the verse. She's like, if I had known how bad this was going to be, I might have been like, whoa, like, I can fix him. No, maybe I can't.
I might have let them lay. Even though when I hear that line, I feel like it's like, no, I wouldn't have let them lay. But I'm just letting you know that I could have let them lay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I
And
wasn't gonna abandon you, but I could have.
yeah. And like,
Especially because what do renegades do? They abandon. She's like, I could have been the renegade here. I could have let them lay.
yeah. Yeah, and the shape of you as jagged and weak is so crazy because so for me to try to hold you and to comfort you would cut me, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah. And then we get into this chorus, which Taylor actually sings with Justin Vernon. He like does like backing vocals. Um, I love this. I love this because there's like basically like a question mark exclamation point at the end of each line, right? Like it's not just a nice comma. It's like, are you really going to talk about timings in times like these? Question mark exclamation point. And let all your damage me and carry your
Hmm.
baggage up my street and make me your future history.
Future history. Oh,
It's
that is so good.
it's so
It's so good. Every time I listen to the song, I'm like, it's so good.
yeah, it's like it really builds and you hear it in her voice where she's very much like trying to exhort him. I think that's such like come on, like let's like almost like a coach like telling his team that's down at the half, being like, come on, like we can do this, like but also you see the damage that it is doing to her. Like, what do you think? Are you
Hmm.
really going to talk about timing in times like how do you read that?
I feel like, people are like, the timing isn't right for
Hmm.
us. Like, we couldn't be together because right person, wrong time. And she's like, really? In times like these when we need each other, you're going to be like, the timing wasn't right? That doesn't make sense. And
Yeah,
you know it doesn't make sense.
yeah, um,
That's really going to be your excuse right now?
yeah. It's
Timing?
totally an excuse. Yeah, like don't give me that bullshit, right? Um, and
Exactly.
And then I think the next two, let all your damage me, and carry your baggage up my street, are very similar. Like all these things that you're going through, you're going to throw them all on me and
Your
make.
future history.
And
Like, that's a crazy line.
let's talk about it's like an oxymoron, right? To have a future
Exactly.
history, like a history in the past, but she's saying that, and you're gonna break up with me, and you're gonna put me in the past, right? Like that I'm
Hmm.
not the gonna be with you anymore.
And that's not fair.
Yeah. And then I love the twist. It's time, right? Because again, we're talking about future history. That's literally the passage of time. But now it's time. It's present. Like, let's go. Like, in this moment, let's move forward together, right?
Exactly.
And
We
it's a,
don't have to do like this. We do not have to live like this.
yeah, you've come a long way. Like, look at where we are. Look at where we
Open the
started. The fact that we're
blinds.
alive is a miracle. Taylor heard Hamilton and was like, I can do it better.
Open the blinds. Like, literally, we've come a long way. Open the blinds is like, you think it's so dark out. Like, you're so stuck in your lowest points. You think it's dark. Look outside.
Yeah, this window
Let
that
me
she's
see your
tapping on, she's
face.
like, "Hello, I know you're in there. Open the blinds." Like the
Like,
imagery connects.
look at me. Look at all around you. Again, look at where we are. It's bright outside. It's not storming anymore. And also, if you open the blinds and look at me, you'll realize you're not the first deserter loner to need somebody.
Yeah, you need
You're not the first traitor to need someone.
and you need a home, right? Like,
Yep.
and home, we will see to bring it back minutes. Home is a huge theme in Midnight's, right? From Dear Reader, to a house, not a home,
All alone because nobody's there. Oh.
right? Maroon takes place in an apartment that's her, in, I guess, with a roommate.
Hmm.
Midnight Rain, time portal back to a hometown. There is a lot of home, that imagery that we're gonna come back to. But
We're gonna circle back. But it's there. It's
yeah,
there.
and it's this. Oh, so yeah, I love this chorus. It is so
Oh,
like it has the frustration that you would have when you're dealing with somebody who won't let you help them, but it's also got the look. But we can do this. It's got the right, because no one can be 100% patient or
hmm.
100% anything in a
a
relationship.
100% of
Yeah,
the time.
yeah,
Especially if you're dealing with someone who refuses to let you help.
yeah, yeah. So Yeah, let's do this post chorus and then we can zoom out a little bit. So, right,
Excellent.
and I love this line. Is it insensitive for me to say get your shit together so I can love you?
I love that.
It's so
Literally
fun.
because like, is it insensitive? Because if we're two people who love each other, sometimes I just need to tell you, get your shit together because you're hurting me. So I can love you. Like
Hmm.
that is the most gentlest way to tell somebody that they are fucking up as
Yeah, and we're gonna see that more in the second verse, right? And then
hmm
and then this second line, is it really your anxiety that stops you from giving me everything, or do you just not want to? Right? Like,
Ugh,
is it actually
crazy.
your fears and your issues, or is it that you are using that as an excuse and you actually just don't want to do this relationship? Because I just need to know.
Because if you let me know that you just don't want to, then we can wrap this up.
Yeah,
I don't have to keep fighting for you if you don't want me to.
yeah. And I feel like that question is asked throughout Midnights and TTPD.
Okay, you just punned.
Right? And I do want to zoom out a little bit because it does seem like this song is being sung to somebody who has anxiety baggage, maybe depression, maybe some other issues that are. So we are not extrapolating this to all relationships and to all people with mental health
hmm
issues or whatever. But in this specific case, in this one song with this protagonist and the person she's singing to, I think they have this relationship where they are able to talk about this very candidly
Yeah,
and really just ask, like, if you are not okay, just tell me. We can deal with that. Or if we are not okay, as in you don't love me, please let me know because I don't need to sit next to some jagged and weak person and be damaged.
exactly. Especially if it's like, the thing is, it's like, it's one thing to damage somebody and not know, but to continually hurt them while they're asking you, hey, how can I help? How can I make this better? Is wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. It's not that like yeah, it's hard to be in a relationship with someone who has a lot of like issues. And that's fine that it's hard because people are willing to put in the work. The singer of the song is willing to put in the work. She says that she will. The only thing she says she cannot abide anymore is if that person will not help them. Like not let them help them. Like you purposely want to stay down and low instead of letting us work together and you're holding me down, and that's where it gets like wrong. That's where we get into the wrongness of it because it's like, because with peace, the way Aaron was like talking about peace, he was like, I have depression and that sometimes that makes it hard for me, but peace is also like, will it be enough if I can never give you peace, but I will fight with you through
Yeah,
this?
I will
While
sit in the
this song,
trenches.
yeah,
I will swing with you for the fences. Like, I'm still there. Like, I'm
yeah.
going.
And it's like, I'm trying. It's just hard. Versus this song being like, I know it's hard. I understand it's going to be hard, but you aren't trying anymore, and that's making it worse. And you could just allow yourself to damage me while you aren't trying, and I can't live like this.
Yeah, she just wants him to open the blinds. I don't need you,
Exactly.
I don't need you to
She didn't
clean the
say get
house.
up.
Yeah, I don't need you to like take me on a date. Just open
She
the
said,
blinds.
do something simple. Open the blinds up. Let the light in. And maybe your jacket pieces will glimmer like a mirror ball. I don't know.
My brain is just pinging to all these connections to you're losing me and I'm just trying to hold it in so bad. So if you, dear listener, are also being like, "Wait, this sounds so familiar." It does sound familiar.
It does.
Um yeah, do you want to jump into the second verse and into the yeah, and just keep going. Just keep going.
I tapped on your window on your darkest night. The shape of you jagged and weak. There was nowhere for me to say, but I stayed anyway. You fire off missiles because you hate yourself. But do you know you're demolishing me? And then you squeeze my hand as I'm about to leave. Are you really going to talk about timing in times like these? Let all your damage damage me and carry your baggage up my street and make me your future history. It's time you come a long way, open the blinds. You should let me see your face. You wouldn't be the first renegade to need somebody. And I really love the you fire off missiles because you hate yourself. But do you know you're demolishing me? Like, that is so good. That is exactly what we just talked about. It's like you hate yourself so much, you don't realize your missiles are aimed. Like you're shooting out because you're like, I'm gonna do all this damage to myself, but you don't realize I'm like standing right in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah, these missiles are not they may be firing randomly, but they're all hitting me. Right? Like
Exactly.
they are and then that next read the next line. It's so sad.
But then you squeeze my hand as I'm about to leave. There's something so sad and sick about this line because he is like, when I finally am like, okay, I am a fully broken toy now. I'm going to go fix myself. I'm going to go leave. He comes back and he just squeezes her hand. You squeeze my hands 3 times in the back of the taxi.
Ooh.
I know it's gonna be a long road. So it's like you give me something. You give me something. And that's why I'm still here. And why I'm like, we can get through this because you give me something instead of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, right? And like it's this like please don't the squeeze my hand is like please don't leave me. I still love you. I need you, right? And then she's like,
I
"Okay."
need you. We can get through this. And she's like, you're right. We can get through it. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is you. That's the little something that you can do. Except it's only ever as I'm about to leave. When I'm with you fighting, you're not doing anything else.
Fighting
You're not
only
opening the
your
blinds.
army.
But
Still.
exactly. When I'm the sickest army doll and I'm fighting for you and for us, you squeeze my hand as I'm about to leave when I'm like, I'm so tired of fighting. I'm about to get out and go back through the window I came through. And that's when you squeeze my hand. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's worth it to
Yeah.
keep fighting. And then we just do this cycle.
Yeah. And then the rest of the song is basically her going back into the chorus, post chorus. Even the bridge, I think, is a repetition. And if I would have known how sharp the pieces were you'd crumbled into, I might have let them lay, which is
And
which is also part of the verses. Like it just kind of
mhm.
repeats, which to me shows just the swirl of emotions and questions that she keeps asking.
And it's also like I feel like when she says how sharp the pieces that you crumbled into, it's not that you're crumbled into pieces. It's that those pieces hurt.
Yeah. Um,
And she's dying.
so this is what
And
Aaron said in
oh,
an interview to Apple Music. He said, and this song, Renegade, it's as good as anything we've made together, I think. And it's also something that I emotionally was really struck by the first time I heard it. Just the way she talks about how anxiety and fear get in the way of loving someone or, create an inability for someone to love. And I think that's incredibly relatable. But it's expressed in the context of this fairly experimental sound world. So, yeah,
yeah.
fear and
Yeah.
anxiety.
And how if you allow yourself, and this is like one of those things. It's not that you aren't lovable, because even in the song, she's like, I loved you. I came in. I saw the pieces
Yeah.
that you were in, and I came in anyway. But I stayed anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Even though you were jagged weak, there was nowhere. I decided to stay. I wanted to choose this cyclone with you, if you will. Um, I wanted this, and I will stay. I will stay. Who will stay? I will stay. Like she's saying, I will stay. But this person she's staying with is hurting. And it's like, and you're hurting me in your hurting. And you won't even, like, you're not going to let me help you. So this staying is like, it's not good for anybody right now.
Yeah.
So I may need to leave. And it's interesting because in the Alcott, which is not a part of this, but I just want to bring it up because I don't know when we'll ever get a chance to talk
So
about it.
if you don't know, the Alcott was a song that Taylor contributed to on what's his band's name? Aaron's other
The
band's name, The
National,
National. Sorry, The National.
you're okay.
Where Matt Berenger, the lead singer, had written the lyrics, and it had the male perspective, and so they sent it to Taylor and were like, "Hey, can you do something with this?" And she wrote the female perspective, and they loved it. So anyway, continue.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's prescient because it's like on that song, she, as the wife's perspective, is almost like the wife had just sang the Renegade song um to the character, and they're responding to it. And the wife's voice goes, "But I love this curse on our house. Shred my evening gown, you know?" So it's like, look, I love you and I will do this. But am I one of your problems too? Have I become one of your problems? Am
Yeah,
I one of your problems?
yeah. I do think that taking this song, Renegade, where we have this emotional baggage and anxiety, I think in the same way with Peace, you can see it as a romantic-ish song, like like there's a happy ending, right? Where in Peace, like, would it be enough if I can never give you peace? Like, yes, right? That's how Aaron saw the song, and I think how Taylor initially saw the song. And then with Renegade too, I think the first time we heard it, it could very much be like, oh, like this is a moment in time where it was so difficult, but he squeezed my hand 3 times, and now we're gonna be okay, right? Or
Exactly.
it's gonna work out, right? Because maybe that was the first step, that was the opening the blind. But in hindsight, we could also be like, oh, but maybe this was just a crack that was maybe patched, or
One of those tiniest leaks
yeah,
that she didn't run from.
yeah, right. And so we don't want to say that, oh, like this the entire meaning of the song changed. I'm pretty sure when Taylor put this out, it's because she she had gone through this but had overcome it and was ready to share it with the world, right? That's what a
Exactly.
songwriter does. But looking back now, as she does too, and she does hindsight all the time, like in Maroon, right? You could be like, oh wait, those carnations, those were funeral flowers, right? Like,
They are not roses.
yeah. So I think it is so fascinating to see how this song has really changed how have people have changed how they've interacted with it because of time, but the song is still fantastique.
It's so good. And it's so good. That's like not to be like it's so good, but it's so good.
Yeah,
Like it's so good.
yeah.
And it's so, yeah, it's just, it's so good.
That was you. I'm saying it's so good for like 30 seconds.
I know. And I'm wrong because I don't have words. Because because here's the thing. The Renegade is a love song if the response is, okay, I'm going to try and make changes and try to meet you halfway and try to open the blinds, you know? Because I need to get my shit together so that you can love me. It's not insensitive. Um, and peace is super romantic if the answer is yes. And I feel like peace and renegade go so well together because they are so little, they're bitter, but they're tinged, it's love tinged with bitterness, even. And I think that is so love tinged with anxiety, love tinged with bitterness. And they're so like crossroads songs. Um, and so much of Midnight's in general is her being at a
Yeah,
crossroads and looking to the past to figure out which side to go down.
yeah. That actually gave me a good idea. A parallel is like, but I'm a fire and I'll keep your brittle heart warm when your cascade ocean wave blues come. The blues came.
Hmm.
The blues
The
came.
blues came.
They're in Renegade. and
The
so
blues have
and
come.
she's
And
trying to
yeah.
love him. She would die for him in secret. You've got a friend in me. Would it be enough if I can never give you peace? And now it's like, okay, look, I'm here. I'm sitting with you in the trenches, swinging for the fences. I will give you everything, my child, the silence, all that stuff. But I need you to just get your shit together.
I need you to, even though I personally cannot bring you peace right now, I need you to try.
Yeah,
Please try.
yeah. And in a healthy relationship, you can really ask of the other person, please try. Tell me what you need. What can we do to move forward?
Exactly. You're allowed to ask those questions. It's again part of being in a healthy, solid relationship that you can be like, well, what do we both need? What do we need?
Okay, I think we have time for you losing me.
Oh, excellent.
Okay.
Okay, so you're losing me is funny because
Is it funny?
no, it's because if we take this immediately after Renegade, remember that line in Renegade where she goes, "You're firing off missiles because you hate yourself, but do you know you're demolishing me?" So you're losing me to me comes right after a missile hit her.
Hmm. Or maybe several missiles hit.
Several missiles, multiple missiles. She was airstriked. Anyway, multiple missiles has hit. And this is in the moments where she's about to leave and he is trying to squeeze her hand and she won't let it happen. And so then we open up
No,
with
I think we're at the point where he's not even squeezing her hand.
the only reason I think he's about to like do that thing where he squeezes her hand is because of that opening of you say I don't understand and I say I know you don't. Like he doesn't get to squeeze her hand this time. She's leaving
Yeah.
before he can squeeze her hand as she's
Yeah,
about to
and he
leave.
now he's running. Okay, you know what? Let's just read
Yeah,
it. Why don't
yeah,
you
yeah.
you start this one?
Yay, thank you. You say I don't understand, and I say I know you don't. We thought a cure would come through in time. Now I fear it won't. Remember looking at this room? We loved it because of the light. Now I sit in the dark and wonder if it's time. Do I throw out everything we built or keep it? I'm getting tired, even for a phoenix, always rising from the ashes, mending all her gashes. You might just have dealt the final blow. She's insane.
Well,
Who just writes
just read the
that?
chorus. Just read the chorus.
Stop, you're losing me. Stop, you're losing me. Stop, you're losing me. I can't find a pulse. My heart won't start anymore for you because you're losing me.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So this song was released in the middle of Eras Tour,
Yep.
on CD exclusive. So
Oh my
we knew she did not care about like sales. She just wanted to just get her side out there for the Swifties, and actually, or maybe yeah, something like that. And then it was available on streaming eventually, and it was a song that people immediately realized, oh, it's about this breakup that she's gone through that also happened on the Eras tour, and it was a devastating song. And then it came out that the song hadn't been written while she was on the tour. It was
hmm
written in 2021, which was the
Which is an insane bit of knowledge for us to
it
learn.
is the
Jack
year
Antonoff,
it
thanks.
is the year that Red TV, like a couple months after Red TV came out. That if you're like, what does that mean in the
The
timeline?
week of her birthday, she wrote it.
Yes, and that was yeah, that was that.
What an insane thing to be feeling on your
She was
birthday.
eating raisins off the counter. So
Ugh.
this was a very so yeah so yeah, like you said, started out, I don't understand, I know you don't, which very much reminds me of Exile, which they co-wrote
Mhm.
together, which
I
is
gave so many
I gave so
signs.
many signs, and he says you like I couldn't read your mind, right? And she's like, what do you mean? I gave so many signs, right? Like, um,
Yep.
and they thought a cure would come. No, this line is crazy. We thought a cure would come through in time. Now I fear it won't. We go from a
hmm
very together word, to now an I. Like we are no longer like a
It's
singular
not, we're
unit.
not a union.
Yeah.
And it happens in the, like if we were looking at this literally like it's a poem, right? If we're looking at it like that, the we happens in the very same line. The separation happens in that line from we to I. Like the we begins it, but by the end we have I, and then we just have I until
Well, no. Well, it happens one more time. We loved it because of the
mhm.
light, and now
And then it
I
goes
sit in the
I
dark.
again.
Yeah.
So she just keeps splitting it. It
Yep.
goes from two to one.
It's it's so sad. Yeah. If you guys read the pronouns in this song, you're like, you feel that tearing of the union, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there's a room. It's beautiful. There was maybe sunlight streaming in when they checked out a house or something, and now she just is in that room alone in the dark.
At a house, not a home, all alone because nobody's there.
Yeah, and I think that is so devastating. And even in Renegade, we had this person. She sat next to some jagged and weak person, even though there was no space,
And
and
there was no light because
the
he
blinds are
closed
closed.
the blind.
But now she is sitting by herself in this room, no body.
And she's sitting in the dark, the blind's still shut. And she is wondering if it's time to go. Because you
Yes,
know, in your soul, it's time to go. When it's time, you know when it's time.
right. And that's the question she's asking the pre-chorus: do I throw it out? Do I keep it? But she's getting tired even for a phoenix. So if you don't know, a phoenix is a mythological bird who in some mythologies every 1,000 years it like bursts into flames and then is reborn as like a baby bird and then like it does that cycle again. So it's like it never really dies. It's just
Do you want to
reborn.
know something else that I really think Taylor should learn? Things I want to tell Taylor
Okay.
about Earth is that there is a jellyfish called the immortal
Yeah,
jellyfish
I know
that
about this.
when that when it is in danger, it regresses back to a baby and then starts over.
I saw
Thing Write down things I need Taylor to know.
I saw an episode on that on this kids show called Octonauts.
Too, and then I did
Yeah,
research.
it is crazy what you learn on kids shows. You're like, excuse me? But yes, this it's a crazy octopus that can basically imagine if like a frog it's about to get eaten by a bird, so it can immediately turns into a tadpole or something. Like that's
Hmm.
crazy. But
That's so cool. Nature's so weird.
it's so weird.
Things Taylor needs to know about nature.
I'm sure she
I
watches a
think
lot of Planet
she's useful.
Earth. But anyway, she's getting tired even for someone who's had to constantly feel like she's been reborn or has had to miraculously come back from people trying to ruin
She
her life, her
rises,
career.
she rose up from the dead. She does it all the time.
Yes. But she's had to mend all these gashes, these wounds, maybe from missiles that have been firing at her.
Yeah,
And now you might
maybe.
and now you might have just dealt the final one, the one that actually kills me.
And what's crazy about it is that she doesn't mention what kind of gas, like where the gashes are coming from. She just says she's always rising, mending all of her gashes. So like from the people trying to take her down. If we look at Midnight's, not Midnight's. If we look at Reputation, when she's like, "Baby, I rose up from the dead. I do it all the time." Like she's constantly taking blows from everyone else. But the fact that it's you might have just dealt the final blow is crazy. It's like all these other people are trying to kill me. I've got my like back to them, or I would say I got my front to them. They're aiming at me. I'm fighting back, and you backstab me, dealt the final blow. Like
You were a
I was fighting off
renegade.
these people. Yeah, you traitor, traitor! You betrayed me,
Oof.
and I know that you'll never be sorry. Word to Olivia Rodrigo.
Uh, and then yeah, we have this. Then we haven't mentioned this, but throughout the song there is a heartbeat that is
Yeah.
being played, and so especially in the chorus you hear this, doom, 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 doom. Right? Stop! You're losing me. We've talked about this before. Repeating things multiple times for a songwriter is emphasis or laziness, but in Taylor's case, it's always emphasis. Um,
Yep.
and she can't find a pulse, and obviously that means you can't. No, you're not alive. We've seen similar language for the pulse in like All Too Well, right? Till we were dead and gone and buried, check the pulse and come back swearing it's the same after 3 months
After
in
three
the
months
grave.
in the grave.
Yeah. And even though he's trying CPR or those paddles, the heart won't start anymore.
Which is crazy because we go from you've got my heartbeat skipping down 16th Avenue
Stop.
to my heart won't start anymore for you specifically.
Yeah.
My heart won't start anymore for you
Yeah.
because you're losing me.
And then you're losing me is like a crazy thing to say because you say it all the time. Like you could say it in a relationship, for example, but also someone said like it's like in ER and Grey's Anatomy, it's like we're losing her, right? Like that's what they'll say, like when
Hmm.
their vital signs are going crazy, and so that's a play on that. Like you can't revive me. Like my all my vital signs have gone haywire, and I'm yeah.
Yep. Ugh, and also that's also where it's like, well, hold on. We'll get to when we get to the bridge. But yeah, yeah. We also have this Taylor making a sickness illusion all throughout, which
Yes.
is very interesting because we come back to this on TTBD, she has to go to the hospital. The hospital was a drag.
But also So Long London,
Yes.
girl is what does she say?
Sick.
What's the gray?
Um,
Um,
oh my gosh.
I'm
Oh,
just
I'm just getting color back into my face.
right because she was so gray.
Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get
Yeah,
to that because it's in the next
that's right.
like
Oh,
in
that's right.
fact,
That's
go
right.
ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, okay, here we go. Wait, I'm in the wrong verse. Every morning I glared at you with storms in my eyes. How can you say you love someone you can't tell is dying? I sent you signals and bit my nails down to the quick. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. And the air is thick with loss and indecision. I know my pain is such an imposition. Now you're running down the hallway, and you know what they all say. You don't know what you got until it's gone.
Ugh. Okay. So I have some things to
Oh,
say.
I'm sure.
I have things to say. Okay, so I feel like a little bit when the empathetic hunger was descending, obviously, and Taylor knew this would happen, and she kind of uh literally got on to all of us for this TTBD. Uh, I feel like this line confused people because they were like, "How come she didn't communicate to him?" And I'm like, "You guys, one, it is her speaking in like it's a literary term. Like she's not just saying like she didn't say anything in that she just stared at him and only looked at him but didn't say something. Because that's not what that line means. It's more so her being like she is being literary, She is like, I did say these things, but I to put it in song, I was staring at him. There weren't actual storms in her eyes. And yes, she may have been glaring at them, but again, guys, she's not saying she didn't communicate because I got there have been words of like, oh, Taylor was childish. Why didn't she just communicate? Blah 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 blah. But then when we listened to Fresh Out the Slammer, and she's like, silent dinner's bitter, like yes, they were communicating, but sometimes they weren't. And I don't think that was necessarily all her fault.
And I
That
will say, like, as someone who's in a relationship married, there are, like, body language is a form of communication, right? Like, my husband knows immediately when I've flipped the switch and start going from smiling my eyes to glaring from my eyes. Sometimes he will know
exactly.
even before I know. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing's wrong. He's like, are you sure? And then I'm like, oh, I'm upset because right? Like something happened, like, in the
Hmm.
news or something like that, right? Like, if you can't read your partner of 4, 5, 6 years' body language to this extent, you are willfully ignoring.
Especially if they're in bed with you and they're glaring at you with storms in their eyes every morning. It's like you are ignoring me to the extent I could be looking at you with such anger
Yeah,
while we're next to each other in bed and you can't tell the difference.
yeah,
Doesn't make sense.
yeah. I think that there is, yeah, because I agree with you. Like, obviously, I think they've been communicating because there is so much about them. There's so much I feel like if you're gonna last this long in a relationship, you're probably talking and like I said, you're gonna have body language communication that there should be something, right? Anyway, so um and
And
also
at the point, she even said she was begging for communication.
yeah,
She was just talk to me.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, yeah, I feel like there's also this idea that um she for example, you swore that you love me, but where were the clues? That's very much this line, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't even tell I'm dying, right? um and she wanted him to prove it to her, right? Like, I died on that altar. So yeah, I think that there was a lot there that he missed willfully. She,
Willfully missed. I
like,
think that's the key. Like
yeah,
he purposely was missing them. So and it has to be willful because I'm glaring at you with storms in my eyes,
Yeah. It's yeah.
and then you can't tell I'm dying. Like you don't see that I'm gray in the
And that she
face.
has bad habits. The fact that I'm biting my nails to the quick. Like you know like again, if you are together with someone for a long time, if you just watch
Even
them,
not romantically. Like if
yeah.
I look at my friends and I can pick up, I'm like, this is not how you usually act.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I'm like I can tell they don't want me to ask them about it right now. But sometimes it's like, hello, what's wrong? If you don't ask what's wrong, and I'm trying to tell you because maybe I've tried for a while to be like, something is wrong. You don't take it directly. Now I need to start sending you all these signs. If you would stop ignoring them.
Yeah. And then here again, we have the my face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. I'm just getting color back into my face in So Long London. And whenever your face is gray, you don't have like blood in your face.
Hmm.
You're pale. It's not healthy.
Not healthy at all.
And then this pre-chorus, the air is thick with loss and indecision. To me, that also sounds like very hospital-y or death-y, like when they say
Yep.
that the air is thick with like miasma or feeling like the presence of death is in the room or something. The air being thick is
Yeah.
bad. You don't want thick air.
Anyone who's spent any time like in a hospital or like in an emergency room, it is like, yeah, it's just thick and it's terrible and you don't want to be there.
Yeah. With loss, indecision, and then this killer line, I know my
Ugh.
pain is such an imposition.
And for those who don't know, imposition is it's like being imposing, like taking up space
Yeah.
that maybe it shouldn't. And we know
Like a
from
burden.
TTBD that yeah, that Taylor had to learn that she's allowed to take up space.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Um,
Um, now you're running down the hallway. You know what they all say. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. Do you think that he is running down the hallway away from her or towards her?
I think he's running down towards her just because of the you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And all of the stop, like all of it gives me the I don't understand, I know you don't. You know what it gives me? Exile, where because in exile, she's like, I'm leaving out the side door. And to me, right after when he goes, so step right out, it feels like he opened up the main door and was like, okay, leave. So it's like, for me, this song, she's building it up. She's like, stop. You just don't need to fight for anymore because you've already lost me. Like, you're losing me. Just stop trying because I know you weren't trying in the first place. You weren't trying until I was already like on the edge out. If we go back to Renegade, squeeze my hand is about to leave. He's running back to squeeze her hand. And she's like, mm-mm, not this time. Nope.
That's fascinating. When I hear stop, you're losing me, I hear her saying stop what you're doing because you're losing me. Like, stop being this silent dinner bitter guy and like stop this like ignoring me, stop this firing these missiles because you're losing me and I'm going to die.
I think like low key, I think it's kind of both.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
not to be a cop out, but I think it's both. I think it's both because she does say you don't know what it's got until it's gone. But I think maybe in the time when this was written, and Taylor chose not to put it out immediately because she wrote it in 2021. But I do think it was one of those warning sign songs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she
So
was clearly communicating here.
yeah, it was a like hey, you're losing me if you don't act right. But then after it became a this is why I'm gone.
Ooh. I mean, I will say I also agree that he's running down the hallway back to her because he's asking like what's wrong? Like finally. And yeah, so I do think that it is very much that.
Because I feel like Taylor has written you're losing me's about this relationship before. And
Oh.
he heard it or she's mentioned it like if I'm thinking like the Great War, Afterglow, Hits Different, those breakup songs that then became We're Okay Now because maybe I wrote this song and I played it for you because you're the first person I play music for
Mm.
and you heard what I was saying and then we were able to work it out
My
and
heart
work on
was able to start.
it. Yeah. We were
Yeah.
able to do CPR on this
Yeah.
because you listened.
Well, let's do that bridge. This is you. I did this so you would have it.
Yeah. Oh my God, this bridge. Okay, let's set the scene. You're all of us not at the concert, and someone has bought the CD and they're running back to their car to put it in, and they play this song over spaces with thousands of people listening.
Dude, I remember that Twitter space so vividly.
And you hear, how long could we be a sad song till we are too far gone to bring back to life? I gave you all my best me's, my endless empathy. And all I did was bleed as I tried to be the bravest soldier, fighting in only your army. Front lines, don't you ignore me. I'm the best thing at this party. You're losing me. I wouldn't marry me either. A pathological people pleaser who only wanted you to see her, and I'm fading thinking, do something, babe, say something, lose something, babe, risk something, choose something, babe. I've got nothing to believe unless you're choosing me. God, Jesus Christ, Taylor, please.
I memorized this bridge so fucking fast
Oh
because
my
because
God.
the way she wrote it, I don't know, it's like 20 lines, but like
She
it
she
was
runs
crazy.
like she was trying to murder us. Especially because so much of it, oh my God, we kind of need to take this piece by piece.
Okay, so again, we start with the we's. How long could we be a sad song till we were too far gone to bring back to life? After that, they had no more we's,
Yep.
right? Like they were trying so hard to just be this sad song couple together, and then we died, and now we are two beings. Um, I gave you all my best me's. All of the she's a mirror ball, right? We know this. And she gave all the best shining shimmering sides. Sorry, exquisite, she made you cry. Um my
Oh,
endless empathy. Like these E's are crazy. I gave you all my best me's, my endless empathy, but all she did was bleed.
because fire off missiles because you hate yourself, but do you know you're damaging me? And missiles,
Demolishing me.
yeah, you're demolishing me. And I'm bleeding because I'm trying to stand as your bravest soldier. I'm standing in front of these missiles, but I am the only one there. I'm fighting in only your army. So I'm not even fighting for myself. I'm fighting for you. And I'm on the front lines for you. And it's not our army anymore. We're not together. We're not like, you don't have my back because you're ignoring
No,
me.
and the
Front
crazy,
lines,
I
don't
mean,
you ignore
no,
me.
so tying that back even to from yeah, I love that you tied that back to Renegade, and you tie that forward to So Long London, where her spine split because of this, right? Wet through with my clothes, weary bones caught the chill. I stopped trying to make him laugh. Stopped trying to drill the safe, right? Because of this damaging me, I had to stop.
Because I was dying. Like she's like, all of this was killing me. Like it was killing me to be doing so much and fighting for us so much. And you're ignoring me. Like you're literally front lines, don't you ignore me.
Yeah,
Don't you see this?
yeah, she's
Like
in the
that's one of
front
the other
lines,
things.
and you're ignoring me
That's,
too. It's not like I'm in the back.
oh,
I'm
she's
literally in the
right
front.
there. And then you also have to think like before, especially like if you look in the Bible, when someone is sent to the front lines, they know they're going to die. Like
Correct.
it's a very high likelihood that they're going to die,
Well, from the
but they
Bible
are,
to now, right?
yeah,
Like,
they're doing it anyway. So she's doing it anyway. She knows she's at the front lines, and he knows she's at the front lines, and he knows what that means, and he does not care. This is the point. And this also, like, if we want to get like on the people who were saying she was being childish and not communicating, what do you think being on the front lines is not in like what do you think that means if you don't think she was communicating or trying? She's like actively stating how much she's trying, and then with So Long London right after this she's saying what she did, and especially So Long London with the London bells and the kept calm and carried, that other soldier motif.
yep,
And sickest army doll, you got me. You knew I would fight for this because you knew I was an army doll when you picked me up.
yep.
um I'm so sick
And then
because she tried so hard.
she says, I'm the best thing at this party.
I'm the best.
But
Who else are you looking at? Why
exactly
are you looking at anybody else?
that line is crazy because that it insinuates that you are looking at other shiny things at this party and not me, the bejeweled, right?
The
Like,
best thing, the
yeah.
absolute best thing at this party. Nothing else should have your attention as much as me. And it's not like of a jealousy thing. It's like you are ignoring me so much. My boredom and loneliness is now bone deep
Oof.
because, like,
You're making her
you're
susceptible to
ignoring
the
me.
drowning in the Blue Nile.
Exactly. Like, you don't see I'm drowning. You don't see I'm catching all of these missiles and I am redirecting them, trying to get them away from us because I'm fighting in only your army. And and I love the don't you ignore me because it is so angry.
It is so
It's so
angry.
mad. Don't you ignore me is not please look at me. It's saying don't you ignore me because I know my worth. I'm the best thing at this party.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Ugh.
And then this next lines made our freaking heads explode. And
And
I wouldn't marry me either.
a pathological people pleaser. And then the thing about those two
Oh,
lines
God.
uh, is that you just feel in your soul that someone said this to her.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not something she came up. Pat, someone called her, said all she ever does is people please, and she internalized it and was like, you know what? I'm right. Like we may have talked about marriages or whatever, but actually, I wouldn't marry me.
Yeah.
I know what I am. I'm a pathological people
I
pleaser.
bought
Of
the
course.
hat that
Who
says
would
pathological people pleaser on it.
exactly?
She
Who would
reclaimed it.
marry me? Who would marry me? This person who is like who would want someone who is nothing more than this. Just this. Like this pathological people pleaser. Of course I wouldn't marry me. No wonder you've been playing around and jerking me around for how long? Over half a decade. Of course, I wouldn't do it either
Oh,
because I know what I am. Even though I'm the best thing in this party, I'm a pathological people
but
pleaser.
yeah, but
And then it's sick
it's sick.
because not only I'm a pathological people pleaser, but I only wanted you to see me. I who only wanted you to see her. A pathological people pleaser who only wanted you to see her.
Yeah, no, it's it's crazy because we know from TTPD how much she wanted to be married and how that is the thing, one of the hooks that really just grabbed her and just pulled her like a fish, right, on a line.
And
And
yeah, yeah.
and so this idea that maybe she got criticized for you're too much of a people pleaser, maybe even from this person, right? And so she's like, I get it. Like you said, I get why you don't want to, but but that's I think that's something she was actively trying to fight against being, but it's also like if it is a part of her, if I do like pleasing people, like can you see that and help me with it, or like or guide me through it, or make sure I have good boundaries? But yours, to me, it's like it's this fatal flaw that makes you unmarriable.
Yep. And that's why it's like and that's why of course it makes sense that like you're not gonna do this. It makes sense. Like it's one of those like, oh, this song is so full of just it's self-loathing again,
Yes.
where she's like, I hate this about myself, so it makes sense that you hate this about me too.
Yeah.
When someone who loves you would be like, I do not hate this from you. But she can't even know that. She doesn't even know that because he's not.
Yeah.
He is not looking at her. He's looking everywhere else. He's looking away when she's like glaring and he's saying mean things. That's a pathological people pleaser feels like one of those missiles he shot off because he hates.
Ooh. Yeah, and I think who only wanted you to see her. I think you actually touched on both of these. Like I can see that as like I want you to see me at the party, and I think you also said like right, I want you to see me for who I am. Like in
I
like
want you to see that I'm trying.
yeah,
Like this is me trying.
yeah,
I may be a pathological people pleaser, but I'm trying to fix that. And I only want you to see that I'm trying to and you're not. And then once again, if you put yourself in her shoes for even 2 seconds and like actually look at what she said, why things happened the way they happened with TTBD is imagine being so down, completely and utterly ignored by someone who swore that they loved you,
Yeah.
that someone who knows, someone who's been paying attention, maybe for nefarious reasons, realizes, oh, I just have to give her just an ounce of attention and she will fall at my feet.
Oof.
How do you not just feel so upset and angry that this is something that happened to her and it wasn't right or fair?
And now because of that, she's fading, right? To me, fading is like when again you're losing someone at the operating table or at the hospital
Mm-hmm.
ER, right? Where their life is literally fading away. And so she's literally dying. And what is she
Yeah,
and what is she thinking? Do
do
something.
something. You can save me if you just did anything.
Yeah.
If you risked something,
Yeah.
choose something.
Yeah, cuz
Me, choose
yeah.
me.
Cuz at this point he's not even squeezing her hand anymore. There's
Yep.
there's not like he is down the hall. He's not even at the home, right? To at least before they could at least be in the same
Yeah.
little house squeezing each
Yeah.
other's hands. He's
He's
not there.
alone. That's the thing. In the home all alone, left at the house at the Heath. She's there alone, dying.
Yeah.
And he is nowhere near where he could even perform CPR like she had once did for him.
Yeah.
He's not tapping on her window in her darkest night.
Yeah. She's just fading, dying, thinking like please do something, anything to resuscitate us.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Do something, lose something, say something, risk something.
choose something because I got nothing. I'm literally empty. I'm a shell. I have nothing
I have
left.
poured and poured and poured. I was this endless well of optimism and people pleasing because Taylor has called herself. She has said, I am the eternal optimist. She
Hmm.
said this. And so to hear an eternal optimist be like, I've got nothing left
Yeah.
is insane.
How much sad did you think I had? Did you think I had in me? And then this is the thesis statement you said of TTPD. Remember,
Yep.
how low did you think I'd go before I'd self implode? Before I'd have to go be free? She literally died and self imploded.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Because he didn't, and the thing is, she literally said, all you had to do something. Like, say that you still see me. Say something. Like, respond to me. Because you're losing me. Like, you lose something. Like, give up something. Maybe don't choose to go and film a movie and leave me alone for 3 weeks right before while I'm preparing to go on a world tour. Maybe don't do that. Risk anything. Don't do this. And then don't leave me alone. Maybe don't go out to the club that I found it. Like, don't do that. Anything. Put me first for once and I won't die. She like outlines it. She outlines it.
Yeah. But
Because she
instead,
says,
what did
I've
he
got nothing to believe unless you choose me.
Instead, what did he do? He took me out of my box, stole my tortured heart, left all these broken parts, told me I'm better off, but I'm not. He runs. She was
He's
like,
a renegade.
he's a renegade. Oh my gosh, this renegade breaks his favorite toys.
Ugh, I'm so mad about this. And I feel like, again, Hannah, I think you said it, where it came out, when it came out, we fully didn't get to spend enough time with it.
With what, renegade?
Probably. No, with You're
Oh, you're
Losing
losing me.
Me,
Yeah,
because it wasn't a part of anything. So we didn't get to give it its proper moment that it needed.
yeah.
Because when I tell you this song, it makes me crazy. I feel crazy. I feel crazy.
No,
I'm so upset that this happened.
the bridge is insane. I I I
Like,
I
oh,
I reread it sometimes, or well, I sing it sometimes. Like there are times where I will play the song 3, 4, 5 times in a row because I'm not angry enough at the bridge, and I just need to keep keep
because
going back to
no,
it.
like, do something, babe. Risk something. Say something. Oh, it makes me so crazy. As like fighting and only your army, I get so angry. I'm like, she's just doing so much and she's trying so much. And I don't understand how people heard the song and were like, she's so childish and she didn't do anything and she just sent signals and she should learn to communicate. And it's like, I feel like part of what she was saying, like fighting in only your army is like she was working on herself and she was trying to work on them.
Yeah.
And he was not.
Yeah. He saw forever. So he smashed it up.
Ah, I want to say something, but we would get demonetized. And we're not even
We're not even
monetized.
monetized. Right? Like,
That's no, I feel crazy.
yeah, no, it is, yeah. Well, we're going to leave it at that. I think we're just about an hour. So we're going to leave it at that. But dear listeners, this is what you are in for the rest of this Midnight's album, because we will be looking at this album in the context of when it was created. When was it released?
Yep.
2022?
Yeah, October 2022.
Right. So but because we have the beautiful ability of hindsight, we can also connect it to TTPD. It's 13 tracks plus the seven bonus tracks.
I think so.
Maybe a little more because it hits different. I don't know. So that's a good 4 or 5 months. If Taylor does drop something in the interim, we'll figure that out when we get there. But we really hope you will join us for the next few months as we just dive into this album of the year winning album.
And it's album of the year for a reason. We'll
Yes.
be able to make this perfectly clear, I think.
Yeah, and we are so thankful for all of you who have tuned in, joined in. Are we still going to do emojis for this season?
I feel like we should, because
Yeah.
I think they're
And every time some of you who are new start joining and just throwing emojis in the comments, it makes us so happy. Like, we're so glad you're here, you found us, and for joining us on this ride.
welcome.
So, what emoji should we do for Renegade / You're Losing Me? Should we do
Oh
a
my
broken
God.
heart? Is there a piece of glass emoji?
Yeah,
puzzle
is there a
piece?
piece of glass?
Oh, glass? Okay.
Is there a piece of glass emoji?
I only see like empty glasses, or like a glass of milk that's poured out. I don't see anything broken.
I feel like a glass of milk emoji is hilarious.
A
But that doesn't make
No, how about this?
any sense.
Just do your favorite drink emoji, something that's in a glass, whether it's milk, whether it's champagne or wine. Just do a fun drink
Ugh.
as we start
And
off this.
hindsight is so going to be 2020 with this album.
Oh,
It's like,
100%.
ugh.
And if you are so
Lavender
inclined,
Haze.
please leave us a tip via Ko-Fi. We have the links in our show notes. We don't make any money from this podcast, but if you just want to buy us a coffee or something, we'd really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with Lavender Haze.
Oh, Lavender Haze. Oh, Lavender Haze.
All right, bye, everybody.
Hindsight. Bye.